like online, because that's really what it is. It's the photographs and stuff come through the feed.
Right.
And I was like, what? Like, because she had like
because she did put it out
stuck
there.
under the bed, like the booty's up in the air, with her head stuck under the bed. At 60.
Did you ever have the opportunity where you got invited and you said no to it?
Hell yeah.
What was the
Hell
consequences
yeah.
when you said no?
Puffy invited me for weeks, asking me to come and teach him how to, wanted me to be his acting coach for a while. So then my assistant was like, he wants to hang out with you next week. And I was like, for what? He's like, I think he's trying to...
You're not letting 50 Cent release some exclusive footage of Diddy's private gatherings that Terrence Howard sent him. Terrence Howard has said he was forced out of the industry for refusing to take part in questionable dealings. Now that he has made these new revelations about Diddy, it appears that we are finally getting a glimpse of who all these influential people were. But Diddy is not the only person involved in this, because Terrence had a little more to say about Diddy's guest list than Young Miami. He's making claims about how Young Miami was allegedly at these gatherings. But the real story here is what he allegedly caught her doing on camera, because, well, it's more shocking than you can ever imagine. Let's get right to the point, because the things Terrence Howard is saying about Diddy are nothing short of wild. And the strange part of this is that he shared the information unprovoked, because no one knew that he even had inside knowledge on Diddy in the first place. A few days ago, he sat down for a podcast interview, and let's just say that he had some things to say about Diddy. Based on what he heard, his experience wasn't all that different from what many others have been saying about Diddy for years. All that stuff about the alleged questionable behavior trying to lure people into inappropriate or uncomfortable situations. Well, Tim claimed that Diddy called him and said he needed assistance with his performance. This is interesting though, because we know that Diddy does occasionally act, but not frequently. He has appeared on a few shows, but nothing so serious that Terrence Howard would need to be his acting coach. Nevertheless, Terrence arrived thinking it was all business, but as soon as he arrived, he began acting very differently, as if he had other plans. Terrence wasn't here for any of that, so he shut him down completely.
Like you're a woman. When you approach a real man about his masculine...
He also reportedly wanted to clarify that he wasn't the only man Diddy had attempted to persuade. He asserted that Diddy had attempted to persuade each and every male who had gone to his parties, saying that each man had lost their confidence as a result.
Manhood? I've never seen somebody recover from it. That was all the people that went to the Puffy parties. That was all the people that did all those things thinking that there was never going to be a consequence for what they were doing. Get punked out and pimped out by some greater desire. You shouldn't have a greater desire than...
It isn't secure. It isn't secure. It appears that no one is really safe at Diddy's parties, because everything is so unclear. But what's crazy is that this isn't even Terrence's first time talking about this kind of concerning behavior in Hollywood. He's been saying for a while now that he was punished and kicked out of the game because he didn't follow their rules. A few years ago, Terrence talked about what he claims was the true reason he left the industry and quit acting, and no, it wasn't just that he was exhausted or wasn't getting roles. Simply put, when he announced in December 2022 that he was retiring from acting, people were taken aback. This timing left people perplexed because it seemed like he was still landing big roles and the fan base, but once he took a stand, began calling him difficult and acting like he was the issue. It's the same old setup we've seen so many times with women in the industry. The industry flips the script on them the moment someone speaks out or refuses to follow directions. There wasn't any public drama or scandal that would have forced him to leave the game like that. But Terrence claimed that there was more going on behind the scenes. He said that the industry was attempting to put him in difficult situations that he believed were intended to challenge his integrity, and when he refused, he said that Hollywood didn't take it well. The next thing we know, he was gone, eventually coming out of retirement, but he's still moving very cautiously since re-entering the spotlight. Removing the curtain on what he claims is the concerning side of the entertainment industry, he repeatedly criticizes the pressure he felt to wear a dress on screen, something he strongly disagrees with. He claims that those scenes had nothing to do with the plot and were intended only to ridicule him or undermine his identity. To be clear, this is not a new discussion. Over the years, a number of black male actors have stated the same thing. The producers tried to force them to wear dresses in films or skits, where the same thing was mentioned by G. Williams when he sat down with Club Shay Shay. He talked extensively about his entire dignity issue and disclosed that it's far more prevalent in Hollywood than people may realize. He said that he has actually turned down big checks more than once due to this exact problem. According to Kat, the urge to wear a dress or behave in ways that undermine a man's identity usually comes with a bargain.
And that virgin hole I was telling you about. Right. Because P. Diddy be wanting the body. And you gotta tell him no. You got to tell him no. I did. See, I got the receipts for everything I'm telling you. That's why I can say them so freely.
Kid, I need another one. You here, get you another one.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
However, after Cat Williams' interview ended, Terrence came through to clear the air. He put an end to the rumors that he was fired because of his temper and that people found him to be too difficult to work with. He clarified that the real reason he was replaced was because he stood his ground and wasn't about to let the industry manipulate him or challenge his identity. And he had something very interesting to say. "I'm not raising sheep, I'm raising men," he remarked, explaining why they had allowed him to leave. "My father taught me to never take vertebrae out of your back or the base out of your throat." Being a guy comes with challenges since a more neutral society has replaced the one that was designed for men to thrive. The more successful males aren't marginalized, but he didn't stop there. In a subsequent interview, Terrence reaffirmed that there is a covert scheme to diminish black men because they perceive strong black men as in the interview, he stated. "The man has been diminished with a new formula. Most men are made to be less confident and not have their power or sense of strength. They allow white men to be strong, but when it's black men, it's considered a threat. I would rather not remove a few commercial zones to fit in someone's story. So I feel they need to expand their stories to allow men to be men and simultaneously appreciate a woman's beauty." Given his recent remarks regarding Diddy, it's not surprising that fans have begun to piece things together, and really, it's starting to resemble a pattern. But that's not all. An insider claims that Terrence is withholding even more major revelations that might be even more serious than what he's already said. According to 50 Cent, it all has to do with Diddy's side project. After Terrence's interview went viral, 50 Cent declared he would remain silent and say, "No comment. I'm staying positive, God help us all." This was Young Miami. However, he appears to have reconsidered because he's making some bold claims about how he has some sensitive party footage. There are rumors that Terrence took the video at one of the parties he went to, and it purports to show Young Miami in some controversial situations. However, this isn't particularly shocking because the streets have been claiming that Young Miami is a city girl who knows far more than she is admitting. There have even been rumors that she participated in gatherings, allegedly as a collaborator rather than someone being taken advantage of, such as when his associate Gina Vaughn shared a photo of herself and Diddy. "Tina, you've been down bad ever since I came into the picture. You've been crying for a baby for 10 years. You've been around as someone Diddy called on when he felt like it. You were crying on Tasha K because you wanted a baby, poor Sushi," Miami said, and he threatened to involve Gina in one of the gatherings because he was jealous. "I have a Korean associate, and you're not loyal. You haven't heard from Diddy since the awards, and he's talking about not wanting children. Let that heart go, Chun-Mi, if I desired for you to connect with me." The court records state that the V, who wishes to remain anonymous, is filing as a victim of mistreatment by one of Diddy's other associates after she became pregnant with Diddy's child. Diddy would have had you compromised for that. Jane Doe was allegedly forced to take substances at Diddy's house. According to the report, in July 2022, Jane Doe went to defendant Combs' residence in Los Angeles at his order. While in his restroom, she was forced to consume an unidentified substance. Later on, Jane Doe discovered that it was or contained substances that caused her to black out and lose consciousness intermittently throughout the night. She did not agree to consume them and claimed that while she was unconscious, she woke up with bruises all over her body, indicating that something bad had happened to her. She wrote, Combs would make her perform in front of him and would provide her with alcohol and other substances, until she claimed that she finally became pregnant with Diddy's child, which led to Young Miami supposedly bothering her until she miscarried. She would wake up from her sleep with bruises and injuries, but she had no memory of how she got hurt. This occurred until July 2024. The statement stated that Jane Doe told defendant Combs about the positive pregnancy test shortly after taking one, and that the lawsuit against Combs is still pending. Combs' associate harassed Jane Doe. The defendant, Carisha Brown Lee, by Jane Doe suffered a miscarriage and stopped communicating with defendant Combs and his team for about 3 months after she was repeatedly called and told to terminate the pregnancy. Yes, you are all aware that Carisha Brown Lee is Young Miami, also known as City Girls. But it's hard to understand why Young Miami would target a woman in that way, considering how emotionally she reacted when Diddy had a child with another woman in 2022. Additionally, Lil Rod's lawsuit contained even more troubling allegations about Young Miami, claiming that she was not only heavily involved, but also had some other family members involved. In this amended lawsuit, he claimed that Young Miami was not only a guest at Diddy's parties, where the questionable activities may have occurred, but also a silent witness to everything that transpired. He even cited a specific instance in which Diddy allegedly had Young Miami's cousin try to offer him drugs at an event, writing, Mr. Combs was under the influence and offered substances to Mr. Jones. Mr. Jones rejected him and proceeded to walk to the restroom. While using the restroom, Young Miami's cousin burst into the restroom and began touching Mr. Jones inappropriately. Mr. Jones thinks that Mr. Combs sent her there to pressure him. She went into the bathroom, got on her knees, and started to behave inappropriately. Young Miami's cousin did not accept Mr. Jones' rejection and followed him out of the bathroom, starting to undress and attempting to engage with him in front of Mr. Combs and his staff. Additionally, the document stated, on another occasion in Miami, Florida, on Thanksgiving evening in 2022 to use illegal substances with Mr. Jones and DeForest Taylor, Mr. Combs asked them to enter the studio bathroom and asked for a $100 bill. Mr. Jones was afraid, but fortunately he didn't have one, so Mr. Combs waited a little while longer to use substances with Young Miami. He also accused Young Miami of assisting Diddy in transporting substances and delivering them to him whenever he needed them, regardless of where he was. According to court documents, the plaintiff and the Combs RICO enterprise were involved in something. Liff Jones personally witnessed Mr. Combs use substances in his dressing room, the court complaint for the Virginia Water Festival states. Defendant Sean Combs wanted some, but Brendan forgot it, so defendant Christina Coram brought it on the jet from Miami. He continued by alleging that Young Miami was a paid assistant for Diddy, receiving a monthly payment for her duties. According to the court filings, Daphne Joy and Young Miami Jade were given a monthly fee for working as Mr. Combs' employees via wire transfer from Robin Greenhill, which detailed the defendant's ongoing illegal activities. As a result, there have been numerous accounts of people connecting Young Miami to Diddy, and it appears that 50 Cent has some sensitive footage of her. To be honest, 50 Cent is the last person you want on your case, because he is as persistent and dramatic as they come. When you add in this feud with Diddy, and the more than 2 decades that it has been going on, you can say that things are looking serious for Young Miami. And Terrence Howard may be telling the truth, but 50 he will eventually release the footage and escalate the situation once more. But in the meantime, I'd like to know what you guys think about Young Miami being pulled into this again due to Terrence Howard's remarks. Please leave your thoughts and comments below, and then watch this next video because it's hard for a creative to get subscribers for it.